The streets are talking again, and this time it's about betrayal, loyalty, and the fall of an empire. For years, Rick Ross built his fame on the image of the Big Meech legacy, the BMF story that inspired a generation. But now, shocking reports claim that Ross betrayed the man who gave him that. Identity sources close to Big Meech's circle are calling him out, saying Ross froze BMF-related funds, cut ties, and tried to erase the original name that made him rich in the first place. And guess who just stepped in? 50 Cent, the man who's never afraid to speak his mind, and who's been carrying the BMF story forward with his hit series. Word on the street is that 50's furious not just at Ross, but at the disrespect to Meech himself. Social media is exploding with reactions. Fans are split down the middle, and the hip-hop world is once again at war. Was this all business, or did Rick Ross just expose his true colors? Stay tuned, because what 50 Cent said will shake the rap industry to its core. The story begins long before the headlines, for the drama, before the chaos that now floods the internet. To understand why Rick Ross and Big Meech's names are shaking the industry again, we have to rewind to the early 2000s, when BMF wasn't just a movement. It was an empire. Big Meech, born Demetrius Flannery, wasn't just a hustler. He was a visionary. The man turned the streets into a kingdom, built loyalty where fear ruled, and made BMF a name that echoed in both hip-hop and the underworld. Even behind bars, Meech remained a symbol, his story inspiring countless rappers to chase power, respect, and money the BMF way. Enter Rick Ross, a Miami rapper who, in the late 2000s, crafted his image around luxury, mafia vibes, and boss mentality. His hit songs like Hustling, BMF, Blowin' Money Fast, his constant references to Meech made fans believe he was carrying that same spirit forward. Ross publicly saluted Big Meech multiple times, called him the real boss, and used that name to solidify his own boss image. But that's where things began to blur, between inspiration and exploitation. Fast forward to 2025. Whispers start spreading through Meech's inner circle. According to inside sources, Rick Ross allegedly distanced himself from BMF financially and personally. The claim: Ross had used the BMF name, image, and legacy to elevate his own brand, but never truly paid homage to the man behind it. Or worse, allegedly withheld support meant for Meech's people while he profited off the brand's fame. The rumors took fire when a few cryptic posts surfaced online. Accounts linked to BMF affiliates claiming that Ross got rich off the name and then went ghost. That line alone sent shockwaves through hip-hop blogs. Fans who once admired the BMF record suddenly began rethinking everything. Was it a tribute, or was it just business? Then 50 Cent entered the conversation, and you know what that means? When 50 speaks, the internet listens. The rap mogul, who has publicly championed Meech's story through his BMF TV series, reportedly called out fake loyalty in one of his recent posts. Though he didn't mention Rick Ross by name, the timing was too perfect, and the internet instantly connected the dots. 50 posted a black and white picture of Big Meech with the caption, "Real ones don't switch sides. They don't eat from the table and forget who fed them." That one post was enough. Within minutes, hip-hop pages, gossip accounts, and fan forums lit up. 50 is talking about Rick Ross. Ross froze the BMF funds. Meech deserves respect, not silence. And just like that, the old feud between Rick Ross and 50 Cent found new fuel. This wasn't their first clash, far from it. Their rivalry dates back to 2009, when 50 Cent and Rick Ross were locked in one of the nastiest beefs in hip-hop history. From diss tracks like Officer Ricky to viral memes and interviews, 50 humiliated Ross on every platform possible. But this time, it's deeper. This time, it's about loyalty and legacy, not just lyrics. People who followed both artists for years know 50's connection to Meech is real. He's not just using the BMF story, he's keeping it alive through his show, investing in the culture and staying connected to Meech's family. So, when whispers of Ross exploiting that same name for personal gain began circulating, fans didn't hesitate to choose sides. Meanwhile, Rick Ross stayed silent, which only made things worse. No statement, no post, no clarification. And in the digital age, silence is guilt to many fans. Hip-hop YouTubers, Twitter accounts, and even mainstream outlets began running with the headline, "Rick Ross betrays Big Meech." Did Ross freeze BMF funds? 50 Cent reacts to Rick Ross's shady moves. The story caught wildfire, millions of views, countless reactions, everyone waiting for either Ross or Meech's side to speak. But what really broke the internet was an audio leak allegedly from someone close to Meech, claiming that Ross never checked in, never showed love, and kept all the talk but none of the action. Whether that recording is authentic or not is still unclear, but it poured gasoline on a fire that was already burning bright as the world watches. 50 Cent seems to be gearing up for something bigger. Insiders suggest he might even use his BMF series to address the controversy subtly, something fans are calling revenge through storytelling. Knowing 50, that doesn't sound too far-fetched. The question now is simple. Did Rick Ross truly betray Big Meech? Or is this just another hip-hop misunderstanding blown out of proportion by social media? One thing's for sure, the tension is real and the silence from Ross only makes it louder. 50's words echo through the culture like a warning shot. Don't play with real names, and don't fake real loyalty. And as hip-hop fans know, when 50 Cent says it once, he means it. The internet was already on fire, but when 50 Cent decided to fully step into the drama, it turned into a digital earthquake. Fans know 50 doesn't play when it comes to loyalty, especially if it's connected to the BMF legacy. To him, Big Meech isn't just another name in hip-hop history. It's family. It's respect. It's real. And when Rick Ross's alleged betrayal began trending, 50 didn't hold back any longer. A few days after the story hit the blogs, 50 posted a short clip from his BMF TV series, showing Big Meech's character saying, "Loyalty don't cost a thing, but betrayal. That'll cost you everything." He didn't tag anyone. He didn't say any names. But everyone knew who the target was, within minutes. That single clip had over 3 million views on Instagram, TikTok, and X Twitter. Comments exploded. He's talking about Rick Ross. This beef is about to get ugly. 50 Cent don't miss. He's the voice of the streets. Then 50 followed it up with another message, this time directly calling out fake loyalty in the industry. Y'all love to pretend y'all real bosses until it's time to show real love. Stop cappin'. Some of y'all used Meech's name just to sell records. That line hit like a thunderbolt. The fake boss reference. Everyone connected it to Rick Ross's The Biggest Boss persona. But while 50 was firing shots, Rick Ross stayed eerily quiet. No tweets, no interviews, no response. This silence made fans think two things. Either Ross was guilty, or he was strategically ignoring the situation to avoid giving 50 more attention. But hip-hop never sleeps, and silence in this culture is often seen as weakness. Meanwhile, the BMF community online began to rise up. Multiple pages, including one allegedly run by Meech's old affiliates, started sharing old pictures of Rick Ross using the BMF name in his promotions, concert flyers, merchandise, and even interviews where he proudly called himself the new Meech. One post read, "He used our brother's name for fame. Now he act like he never knew him." Those words spread like wildfire. Suddenly, the narrative changed from Ross inspired by Meech to Ross exploited Meech. Even bloggers like DJ Academics and Hip Hop DX started covering it. Academics went live saying, "I ain't saying Ross did anything wrong." But 50's making a strong point. If you use the BMF name, show real love. Send support. Visit Meech. Don't just post luxury photos talking about being a boss. That live alone hit over 600,000 views in 24 hours. The hip-hop audience was fully tuned in. Then came the twist. A fan posted an old interview clip of Rick Ross from years ago where he said, "Meech inspired me. He's the reason I move the way I do. I'll always salute that man. I'll always salute that man." The clip went viral again, but this time fans saw it differently. Instead of seeing it as respect, many viewed it as manipulation. A man using another's image to build an empire, only to walk away when things got real. Even the phrase "blow in money fast," which originally came from BMF, is being debated online. Did Ross ever compensate Meech or his family for using the legacy? Nobody had a clear answer. As tension built, 50 Cent's followers kept the fire going. His comment sections turned into digital battlefields, 250 fans versus Rick Ross fans. One comment summed it up perfectly. Rick Ross is rich because of a name that another man paid for with his freedom. And while all this was happening, 50 Cent began hinting that he might address this in his upcoming BMF season. He tweeted, now deleted, "Everything comes full circle. The truth always finds a way on screen." That one line made fans go wild. Was he planning to expose Rick Ross's alleged betrayal through his show? Knowing 50, he loves turning real-life beef into storylines. Rick Ross, however, finally broke his silence. Kind of. In a cryptic Instagram story, he posted a photo of himself in his mansion, sipping Belaire with the caption, "Bosses don't explain moves to workers." No names again. No hashtags. But everyone knew. The internet went crazy. Some praised him for staying above the noise. Others accused him of arrogance. But here's where things took a darker turn. A close friend of Big Meech commented under that story saying, "Real bosses don't forget who made the name mean something." That comment gained thousands of likes before being deleted by this point. The situation wasn't just a social media spat. It had turned into a cultural debate about loyalty, legacy, and respect in hip-hop. Older rappers started chiming in too, with artists like Styles P and Trick Daddy subtly commenting about the importance of staying true to the streets. And while Rick Ross stayed calm on the surface, insiders claim he's furious behind the scenes, calling out people who are trying to drag his name for clout. Still, the damage is done. Public perception has shifted. The boss image Rick Ross built is now being questioned like never before. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's brand continues to grow stronger. Every time his name enters controversy, his audience expands. And his final message of the week sealed the moment perfectly. He posted a photo of himself and Big Meech together years ago with the caption, "They can copy the name, but they'll never copy the respect." That post alone hit over 10 million impressions in 48 hours. Now the world is watching two hip-hop giants, standing on opposite sides of legacy. One built an image around the name. The other protects that name like it's sacred. The question remains, will Rick Ross finally address the accusations? Or will 50 Cent turn this feud into his next big TV storyline? Because one thing's clear. This isn't just a social media beef anymore. This is personal. By the time a full week had passed, the internet was buzzing nonstop. Every blog, podcast, and Twitter space was talking about it. Rick Ross versus Big Meech's legacy, and 50 Cent's relentless fire. And while Ross had mostly stayed quiet up until now, that silence finally broke in a way no one expected. It started during a live stream with DJ Khaled. The two were celebrating the anniversary of Port of Miami. Khaled, always the hype man, brought up the topic casually. "Ross, they're talking about you and the BMF situation. Bro, the streets want to know. What's the reality?" Rick Ross paused, took a long sip from his glass, smiled, and replied, "The streets know who inspired who. I paid homage. I never stole anything. But when you build an empire, everybody wants to tear you down." That one quote instantly went viral. To some, it sounded like confidence. To others, it sounded like deflection. Within hours, hip-hop blogs turned that clip into headlines. Rick Ross responds to 50 Cent, "I paid homage. Not stole anything, but the story was far from over." A few days later, Rick Ross dropped a freestyle on Instagram over a vintage BMF-inspired beat. And this wasn't just a freestyle. It was a message. Lines like, "I made the name global. They still bitter in the cell. I showed love to the bosses. Now they are wishing me hell." And later, "Never owe the streets nothin'. The streets owe me, still BMF till I die. Can't clone me." Fans flooded the comments. This is a direct shot at Big Meech and 50. Ross firing back in lyrical form. Classic boss move. Beef just went nuclear. Even 50 Cent's fans had to admit, Ross knows how to make a statement without saying names. But as soon as that freestyle dropped, 50 Cent responded, not with bars, but with his signature weapon, Instagram trolling. He posted a video of himself laughing while driving, with the caption, "When they start rapping," instead of explaining. "You know, the truth hurts." Then he added a second post, a photo of Meech in prison with the words, "The real ones don't need your songs. They need your support." That one post hit 5 million views in 24 hours. The comments were brutal, most siding with 50, calling Ross fake love and industry loyal. But this beef wasn't just between two men anymore. Now, the entire hip-hop community was being forced to pick sides. On one side, you had the South artists like DJ Khaled, Whale, and Gunplay all showing subtle support for Rick Ross. They were reposting his songs, adding captions like "Boss Forever" and "Real Hustlers Move Silent." On the other side, you had 50 Cent's camp with people like Tony Yayo, Uncle Morta, and even Fat Joe dropping cryptic messages about real street loyalty. Then came the surprise. Boosie Badass went live and spoke up. Ain't no disrespect, but if you used that man's name to blow up, you were supposed to make sure he was straight. You don't leave your inspiration behind bars while you flex. That statement lit the internet on fire again. Now, the conversation wasn't just about beef, it was about morality. Meanwhile, new leaked DMS began circulating online, allegedly between Rick Ross's manager and one of Meech's old affiliates. In the messages, the affiliate accused Ross's team of profiting off the BMF name without paying a dime. The manager allegedly responded, "Ross helped make BMF a household name. He doesn't owe anything." Whether the messages were real or not, they added gasoline to the fire. YouTube channels started breaking it down frame by frame. TikTok creators posted timelines of the rise and fall of Rick Ross's BMF connection. Hashtags like #BMFTruth, #RickRossExposed, and number 50 Cent Speaks began trending. Then came the most shocking moment of all. A recorded phone call surfaced online. A blog claimed it was a conversation between Big Meech himself and a close associate, recorded from prison. In the audio, the man's voice, allegedly Meech said, "I don't got no hate in my heart for Ross, but I really recognize the real. Don't build your empire off my sweat and act like I don't exist." That one clip broke the internet. Thousands of fans reposted it, tagging Ross and 50. If it was authentic, and many believed it was, then the message was loud and clear. Big Meech felt betrayed. Rick Ross quickly denied the audio in a comment under a Shade Room post. "That's not real audio. Stop playing with my name. I've shown nothing but love and respect to that brother." But by then, it was too late. The damage was done. Public opinion had already shifted, and in hip-hop, perception is power. Then, to make matters worse for Ross, 50 Cent went live on Instagram for the first time in weeks. He sat in his office surrounded by BMF posters and said, "You can't fake history. Meech's name doesn't belong to anybody. You can buy cars, mansions, and fake friendships, but you can't buy respect." He ended the live by teasing something cryptic. "Season 4 of BMF. I'm telling the truth y'all ain't ready for. Telling the truth y'all ain't ready for." That one line broke the internet again. Was 50 planning to use the show to expose Ross's connection to BMF? Was he working directly with Meech to clear the record? Fans started speculating wildly. Now the industry is completely divided. Rick Ross's team is pushing the "I paid homage" narrative. while 50 Cent's side is riding the "you betrayed Meech." Wave. Music insiders claim that several promoters are hesitating to book Ross for events, afraid of controversy. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's BMF viewership reportedly spiked by 40% since the feud began, as the situation spirals. One truth stands out. This isn't about clout anymore. It's about who owns the legacy of the streets. And if there's one thing the hip-hop world has learned over the years, when 50 Cent sets his eyes on you, it's not just a beef. It's a campaign. The hip-hop world had gone silent for a moment. That eerie kind of silence that happens right before a storm, after weeks of chaos. Diss lines, live streams, and accusations. Everyone waited for the next move. And if you know 50 Cent, you know he never lets a feud fade quietly. Then one morning, without warning, 50 dropped a trailer. Black background. The BMF logo flickered on screen. And then came his voice, cold, calm, calculated. They say loyalty is everything, until the money comes. That trailer alone sent shockwaves through the internet. Fans instantly recognized the tone. This wasn't just a promotion. This was a shot. Within hours, 50 announced a special documentary episode of BMF, Truth Behind the Empire. The tagline, "The story they tried to bury," was bold, direct, and loaded with implications. People started speculating that this new special would expose the real story behind how BMF inspired the culture and how certain rappers might have profited off it. Ross's camp went into immediate damage control mode. His lawyer released a statement. Mr. Roberts has always maintained deep respect for BMF and its legacy. Any attempt to portray him otherwise is defamatory and untrue. But the problem was, the fans didn't believe it anymore. When the BMF Truth Behind the Empire episode dropped on Stars, it exploded. It wasn't directly about Rick Ross, but it didn't need to be. The documentary showed rare interviews with people from BMF's real circle, including some who spoke directly about the music industry, taking the BMF name and using it for profit. One former associate even said, "When Ross came out with that BMF song, yeah, it put light on us. But not one phone call, not one visit, not one check." The internet lost its mind. Clips of that quote flooded TikTok, X, Twitter, and YouTube. Ross's name trended for 3 straight days for all the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, 50 Cent took a victory lap, posting memes, laughing emojis, and cryptic captions like, "I told y'all, the truth always wins in the end." And yet, the most powerful moment came days later when Lil Meech, Big Meech's son, finally broke his silence. During an interview, he was asked about Ross and the controversy. Lil Meech didn't dodge the question. He said Ross did what he did. "I respect him for putting BMF in music, but the real story was never told until now. My dad built something real, not a rap brand, but a legacy." That statement was like a nail in the coffin. Fans immediately read between the lines. Lil Meech had just drawn a line of separation between the real BMF and Ross's rap image of it. Rick Ross tried one last time to regain control. He went live, sitting in front of his mansion, surrounded by cars, trying to remind the world of his power. "Y'all can talk all you want. I'm still a boss. I helped put that name in the global spotlight. Ain't nobody do that before me." But the comments were brutal. "Meech didn't need you. 50 just ended this chapter." The boss lost the streets. Ross looked confident. But the energy was different. You could see it in his eyes. The weight of the moment was real. Behind the scenes, industry insiders began whispering that some brands and promoters had quietly backed away from partnerships with Ross. Too much controversy. Too much smoke. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's BMF brand grew even stronger. New merchandise lines, more sponsorships, and even rumors of a BMF spin-off series. Every win for 50 was another loss for Ross. But then came something nobody expected. A public letter from Big Meech himself. The letter, shared through his legal team, read, "I appreciate everyone who kept the name alive. But the truth is, BMF ain't about fame. It's about family, honor, and code. Some people understand that, some don't. He didn't name names, but everyone knew who that was aimed at. It was Meech's quiet way of setting the record straight, without saying it directly. That was all it took. After the letter went viral, Ross finally went quiet. No more freestyles. No more live sessions. No more interviews, just silence. And in that silence, fans realized something minus 50 Cent had done it again. He didn't just win a beef. He rewrote the public perception of a legacy. Weeks later, 50 posted one final message on Instagram, a photo of himself next to Lil Meech, both smiling. The caption read, "Legacy secured. Respect to the real ones who built it." That post became one of the most liked of his entire career. It wasn't just a clapback, it was a mic drop. The entire saga left hip-hop with an important reminder. In a world where image is everything, authenticity still wins. Rick Ross may still be the boss in his world, but when it comes to the streets, to legacy, and to the name BMF, there's only one truth that matters. And now the question is, what happens next? Will Rick Ross bounce back and reclaim his narrative? Or will 50 Cent continue to dominate by exposing what others keep buried? Because let's be real, this isn't just about two artists throwing shade. This is about the legacy of the streets, loyalty, the price of fame. If you've been watching this entire saga unfold, you know 50 doesn't move without strategy. Every post, every project, every troll has a purpose. And it's clear this one hit deep. But here's the twist. Some insiders are already whispering about 50's next big move. Rumors suggest he's planning a BMF Origin special, and it might finally include Big Meech's own voice. Now that would be the ultimate full circle moment. So what do you think? Did Rick Ross exploit the BMF name for fame? Or did he genuinely pay homage to a movement that shaped hip-hop? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear your take on who's really keeping the legacy alive. And if you're here for the real stories, the untold truths, and the raw energy behind hip-hop's biggest feuds, subscribe right now. Hit that bell and stay tuned. Because the next chapter, it's about to get even crazier. About to get even crazier.